4, 3, 2, you're live.
Hi, my name is Godless, aka your favorite atheist. Welcome back to the Reason Live show. Before we get this thing started, let me take a selfie. Let's tag that in the memory banks, folks. So without further ado, welcome back to Reason, religiously educated atheists, secularists, and other non-theists. Can't believe I almost messed that up. The Secular Round Table. Tonight, we got the usual suspects. We got Dieter, the one with the voice who always makes my panties moist. Couldn't even get it out. Welcome back, Dieter.
I wonder if I just ignore you for the next 20 minutes if you won't say that again. Hello, everybody.
Hey, let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all. Can I tell them? Can I tell them about the lessons?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Listen, Dieter's been taking singing lessons, okay? This mofo is about to make sounds that sound so divine, it's like they came from a heavenly heart. When will you bless us?
He is a liar and possibly an artist.
When will you bless us with these auditory orgasms?
So yes, I have been taking singing lessons, and I would like to do covers of various things online, but I'm not nearly good enough, and I'm extremely self-conscious. So eventually...
Well, let me be the first to say I'm looking forward to that. Now, we also got GE, the Godless engineer, the one who keeps this show looking fantastic for all of you guys. Welcome back, GE.
Hello, everybody. I'm just messing around with some sound issues on my end over here, so that's why I'm grateful for you there, ALS, taking over and introducing everything for us.
Yeah, and as you guys know, I'm the body of the show. ALS, your favorite atheist, you know, boom, boom, that sexy mofo and everything. Everybody's always wondering. I'll just tell you, tonight I'm drinking gin, okay? But now, without further ado, we're going to have some new science this week. Dieter.
Well, gee, what do you want to do? Do you also want to play the video, or do you want me to explain it?
Yeah, we can just play the video, and then we'll see. We'll discuss it afterwards.
Well, tell us what we're watching.
Yeah, while this is getting set up, we're going to watch a short, I guess, introductory video on the recent discovery of gravity waves. Now, in very brief, it's only 3 minutes, but it's a really significant accomplishment, and we'll talk about it once the video is done. But I want you all to see this and not just chalk it up to the amazing stuff science does. This is actually a substantial breakthrough. And I'm saying that. So, yeah, gee, play it.
Tremendously exciting news. Gravitational waves have finally
and now
been
the sound's
detected.
not working.
Here's a brief explanation. Back in
So let's read some comments while we wait for GE to get it going. Apparently, a lot of talk about orgasms and oral sex over in the comments.
I have heard of both those things.
I would hope so. How do you feel? Oh, is the video working now?
15. Albert Einstein gave the world his new theory of gravity, the general theory of relativity, which is based on the beautiful idea that gravity warps and curves in the fabric of space-time. Now, barely a year later, Einstein pushed this idea one vital step further. You see, he realized that if space is flexible enough to warp, then it should also be able to ripple, to vibrate, to undulate. And that would mean that if something were to jostle the fabric of space-time, it should send out ripples in the fabric of space, and it's those ripples that we now call gravitational waves. Now, of course, the source of gravitational waves would not be my hand jostling space. Instead, it would be some highly energetic astrophysical process like rapidly orbiting neutron stars or black holes that would send out a steady rumble of gravitational waves. Or at least, this is what the theory says should happen. Now, how do you test this idea? Well, the math shows that as a gravitational wave rolls by, it will squeeze and stretch anything in its path. You see it happening here for the Earth, but of course, this is highly exaggerated so you can see the effect. When you do the calculation, you find that the amount of squeezing and stretching would be tiny, a mere fraction of an atomic diameter, and that makes it pretty difficult to detect. But that is what the LIGO team has now achieved. And they did it with two detectors, one in Louisiana, the other in Washington State. And in these detectors, what they do is they fire laser beams along two 4-kilometer-long evacuated tunnels. And when the light recombines, it creates an iconic pattern. It's known as an interference pattern. But the only thing that you need to grasp is that were a gravitational wave to roll by, it would squeeze and stretch the arms of the detector, and that would have a measurable impact on that interference pattern, causing it to shift. And it's just that kind of shift in the interference pattern that the LIGO team has now observed. The first direct detection of gravitational waves. And this is big. This will go down in the history of science as a pivotal moment. And not just because it's another spectacular confirmation of Einstein's ideas, which it is, but rather because for millennia we have explored the universe using waves of light. This discovery marks the opening of a new era in which we will explore the universe using waves of gravity.
All right, that's it. So that was really dense. I understand that. But the idea is, using the characteristics of lasers, we were able to discover evidence that demonstrates that gravity waves are actually a thing. Before, they were just a theoretical construct. The idea that if space is warped or distorted enough, then space itself should be affected, and that effect should be detectable. We did it, and the reason that this is really interesting is that he kind of said it at the end of the video. For a very long time, basically since we're able to see things, we've been detecting things in space or detecting things in our cosmos by light reflecting off of stuff and those waves traveling through space and then getting to us. What we might be able to do now is detect large celestial magic going on by the gravity waves that those events produce, as opposed to just the light that bounces off of it or emanates from it. This is incredible. This is an entire new way of discovering new data. And I find this incredible. I like was jumping up and down when I figured out this explanation. So thoughts? This is really freaking cool to me.
I think that this just goes to show just how fucking brilliant Einstein really was. The fact that in his mind, he constructed this theory, which has lasted for what, 100 years now, right? Almost 100? Is it almost 100?
Oh, I don't care.
It was 1906, right? No, never mind.
When was Einstein alive?
Math!
Einstein was alive for a while, but anyway, that was...
Anyway, almost a century of Einstein's theory being proven over and over again. And this is just another physical discovery of this theoretical concept. And I think that this is huge for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is we're always dealing with these people who consistently are against science, right? Against science and new scientific discoveries. And I think that every time that we have some kind of physical proof that we can apply to a theoretical concept, what that does is maybe it doesn't show all of these people who are anti-science that science actually works and can make accurate predictions out of theories. But it also kind of gets those people that are sitting on the fence to maybe be more open-minded about science. And so to me, you know, we already knew that Einstein was right about everything, right? We know this shit. He was a fucking god, man. Okay?
No,
but,
that's...
but listen.
You're under... Like, Aeolus, I love your passion of trying to get people to to like accept scientific ideas, but it's like it's hard to explain to people like the significance of a discovery like this, especially because it's marred so much in physics. That's why I like the analogy to light, but I'll try throwing another analogy at this. This sort of discovery is like discovering that we had another sense. Like, this is discovering like the sixth sense exists, and we were just unaware of it until this moment, and now we're open to all these unbelievably large range of new sensations in science. That's what this is like. This is like discovering that we could smell things for the first time.
Okay, Dieter, I'm gonna listen. I am the hopeless romantic of this podcast, right? But here you are over here romanticizing science in a way that I'm gonna have to disagree with you on. I don't think that it's that serious.
Yes, it is. That's the whole point.
But you can now add gravitational waves to the list of things that prove the Big Bang happened, right? Would you like to explain to them why that is? Go ahead. I'll let you do that.
Actually, I'm not sure. I guess the would the original like distortions from that expansion still be vibrating throughout the universe? Can that happen?
Can we detect it? So that's the thing. How long ago was this thing that we detected? How long ago did that happen? The thing that we detected.
Oh, just the distortion for this one? I have no idea. I haven't actually read the paper.
Yeah, I saw it was like it was a really fucking long time ago.
Probably. Because that's one of the things, is the only things that we know of that can make, so far, the sort of distortions that we can detect have to be like black holes or those sort of things. They have to be very large, dramatic events. And I don't think we necessarily know how far the gravity waves can actually travel, or if they like peter off to a point where we can't detect them anymore. But regardless, it's still pretty freaking interesting. And
Well,
I don't downplay the significance.
I'm kind of curious as
the significance. Let me be clear about this. This is an amazing discovery.
Go G.
well, I was just gonna say, I'm wondering what can we use this for? Like, what's the application of it? Maybe I missed that in the video.
Point is we'd be able to gather data from things that we might not be able to get data from light in space.
Okay.
We can detect. It's a new way of gathering data. Like I know it sounds like hyperbole, but I'm quite serious. This would be like being the first person to discover smells. And then being like, holy shit, we can detect things from way the fuck over there with these weird things on our faces. Like,
well, to kind of go back to what I was saying initially, like not everything is always going to have an application. Like if you're looking for a more serious answer, like yeah, okay, now we can discover, like we can track these things, right? We can sense the vibrations, but what is the actual application of that? Like what can we do with the discovery of these vibrations? And I think it just kind of goes back to pointing out that these theoretical concepts do have physical proofs and they are measurable. And I think that I'm not downplaying it by saying that, but I think that we need to push that out there so that more people can understand that it's not just a theory. Okay, we got evidence, and I'm challenging Dieter to describe how gravitational waves
if it was a theory, then we already had evidence.
Proof. Now, I'm challenging Dieter to explain to you guys how gravitational waves are now a physical proof that the Big Bang happened.
Let's see, gravity waves and the Big Bang. Tell me, Google. Wow, that's like the first thing from nature. Waves from the Big Bang?
There you go.
Wait, this is from like last year. Interesting.
Yep. Because remember, they thought they discovered them at one time, but they announced it too soon. Like they jumped the gun on it. That was like
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Silly scientists. Anyway, that's all I had for this story. I find it wonderful, and if it pans out the way that that people are expecting it to, we might be able to get all new crazy discoveries in the near future.
Well, that was the new science this week, and all I gotta say is Einstein, bitches.
Yeah, I mean that's like freaking impressive. Like, to be honest, like I love the old stories of like these scientists from forever ago that like predicted the size of the Earth and all these things using different experiments, and Einstein just so far up in that scale. It's just ridiculous the kind of stuff that he was able to discover.
Bro, he did all this in his head, son. In his head.
But it does go to show you, like, obviously Einstein was brilliant, but it's like once you have the concept and are able to just work through the math, like, stuff just reveals itself, for lack of better phrasing. Like, it's our universe works in such a way that we're able to at least approximate a lot of things, which is very useful.
Listen, this man also, with his theory in his mind, right, realized that the universe was either expanding or collapsing before we even had evidence of that.
It's what the data he had and what the math panned out. Like, he didn't just imagine it in a dream. It was like he did rigorous science.
Yeah,
and
but
just
a lot of
hell of a lot of math.
And a lot of thought experiments. Don't downplay his brilliance, Peter.
Like, the actual proof for, like, E equals MC squared is a lengthy pile of bullshit. You didn't just go like, you know what? What if matter is actually made out of magical energy? Perhaps if I accelerated at the speed of light, squared, it would work. He didn't just come up with that out of nowhere. That's how science is done.
Alright. That was the new science this week. We hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I was thoroughly excited to find out that they actually discovered them this time, because they announced like 2 years ago that they had, and they kind of jumped the gun on it.
Which is fine. I mean, that's kind of the point. You do the experiment, and if it can't be replicated, or if you find problems, then you do it again. So, self-correcting science. Good job, folks. I really hope this one sticks, and they don't find a horrible flaw, though, because that would be really depressing.
I think that they waited a while, right, this time before announcing it to make sure.
Even so, even if it does turn out to be another, like, false start, we're gonna try again.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people mistake science for like, oh, you got it wrong, that means science is bad. It's like, no, we got it wrong, therefore we have to go back and we have to figure out why it's wrong and figure out the correct answer. That's what science.
Wrong, so we figured out one experiment that doesn't work.
Yeah. But yes, tonight we are talking about the current 2016 election here in the United States. As you all know, we got a big whoop from Dieter. We have a whoop 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 from Alice. How are you? Let's start off with Dieter. Why are you like woo 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 about it?
Because it's just such bullshit.
Why is that?
Like, we have what is effectively a circus as one of our political parties. And on the other side, we have people that have extremely high ideals. And although a lot of good plans are being put forward, there's a lot of skepticism on if all these different plans can be put forward from both people, like our front runners, Clinton and Sanders. Now, like, I have a huge number of issues with Clinton just because of the, like, flip-flopping she does. But if she does follow through with her current standards of a lot of different issues, then okay. Like, wouldn't be the worst-case scenario, obviously. But then, like, I'm for Sanders, and I know it's, like, very idealistic, a lot of the stuff that he wants. But I'm okay with that because of what a president actually does. Like, a president, in not so many terms, has fairly limited power, and is able to, but within that framework of limited powers, is able to kind of lay the groundwork for a lot of really important change in the future. Like the people he appoints and the kind of policies that he tries to drive forward with his like public image as much as his political power. And I think the over idealized kind of person is kind of what we want. Because then he can actually appoint people that can really make the substantial changes. And if he's the kind of person who would actually, like, use his political sway to do to like veto certain things or just to propose certain things, again, I would want somebody that's has those sort of ideals that Sanders has. I don't trust Clinton to follow through with the sort of things she's currently promising, because she's changed her mind, not because she was proven wrong, but because polls told her to change her mind. And I don't trust people who do that. Now, that's not fair for all of her choices. I'll be very frank about that, and I'll be happy to change my opinion on her if I'm shown something that makes me change my mind. That I'm not like dead set on not liking Clinton, but I'm generally for Sanders on pretty much everything.
I seem to lean Sanders' way as well a good bit of the time. I think that there are some issues where I've answered differently on like blind questionnaires or whatnot that seek to kind of gauge which candidate you're more like or whatnot. But for the most part, I know that uh, uh, Sanders. I like all of his ideas about stuff. What about you, Aeolus?
Um, I can kind of piggyback off Dieter here. I think that Sanders is the best candidate for us. I think that, like Dieter says, he'll be able to appoint people. He may be able to even sign a few executive orders. But in essence, what Dieter missed here is that the president's main job is to fucking make Congress work. That's his only job. He is a front man, right? That's what he is supposed to be doing. He is there to unify the parties to get shit done. The president doesn't actually do shit. Okay? So him saying like, yeah, these ideas are great, you know, free tuition, like single payer healthcare, like maybe even free healthcare. Like these are great fucking ideas, and as a first world country who claims to be a superpower, we should have all of these things, right? But the truth of the matter is he may not actually do anything at all. But the good thing about electing him anyway is that if he is elected, he is setting the bar that much higher for future candidates that want to become president. Now, I'm 100% against Hillary Clinton. I'm almost, I am in the camp that says if we can't get Sanders, then let's get Trump. Now, listen to my reasoning here, okay? Because political revolution is coming and people are extremely tired of establishment politics. Donald Trump is a loose cannon. He can't be controlled by the establishment. He's probably not going to be the nominee. They're probably going to nominate someone else using super delegates because he doesn't toe the party line, right? He's not on the issues that they want him to be. So he's probably not going to be the nominee. Sanders is probably not going to be the nominee either. But I'm of the mindset that if we have to elect Donald Trump to get out of this establishment politics, then that's what we have to fucking do. Is it going to be bad? Probably. He has a few good things. I mean, I like his foreign policy. I like his tax plan that you can write on the back of a postcard. I like the fact that he is against this political correctness that is running rampant. You know, you can't say this because you might offend someone. You know what? Fuck that. Let's state the facts. Let's say what we got to say. Okay? So, Sanders, if we can't get Sanders, then Donald Trump, because I really don't want Hillary. I really don't like the fact that she is 100% backed by her Wall Street interest, and the only time that she changes things is when she says that she wants to change something about her party platform is when Bernie Sanders says something, and then people are like, yeah, we want free tuition, and she's like, hey, maybe we can do free tuition, when she wouldn't have been saying that otherwise. Or another example is how she changed her stance on same-sex marriage. I mean, this woman has basically been flip-flopping her whole political career. When she started out for Goldwater, who was a president against the Civil Rights Act. So this woman has, from the beginning of her political career up until now, has flip-flopped the entire fucking time. And I think that someone like that can't be trusted. So, as I said, Sanders first. If we can't get Sanders, then Donald Trump. But the truth of the matter is, what's really going to happen here? I don't think Sanders or Donald Trump, no matter if they have the majority of the party delegates, the superdelegates are going to select who they want, right? And it's probably going to be Hillary Clinton. And I think you had a link pulled up there that shows like the specific matchups between the candidates. If you look at that page that GE has there, you'll see that if Clinton was to get the nomination, she loses to fucking everyone.
Well, hold on. Here we go. Because you can select it and show. Okay, so on Fox News, Clinton against Trump, 47-42. 45-46, Clinton and Cruz. 44-48, Clinton Rubio. 44-47, Clinton Kasich. 45-46, Bush, which Bush has dropped out. According to NBC, Clinton would win against Trump, but would tie with Cruz. But I don't know if they would most likely lose. Looks like she'd win against Trump, according to Quinnipiac. She'd lose against Cruz, according to Quinnipiac. She'd lose against Rubio. She'd lose against Bush. Heavily lose against Kasich. Let's see, Suffolk University.
We don't have to go through the list.
Listen, basically, all you need to know is that she is going to lose against almost every fucking Republican candidate. It says that she won't lose against Donald Trump, but that's still too fucking close, okay? That's within the margin of error there. So how can you elect this woman, or how can you select her as the nominee, knowing that she is going... Right now, people are saying that they would rather have a Republican candidate than to have Hillary Clinton as the president.
That is frightening.
Yeah. Let's see. And with Sanders, he wins hands down against Trump. Hands down. That's from Fox and NBC. Sanders would win against Cruz. Sanders would win against Trump via Quinnipiac. So it looks... I mean... Looks like Sanders' biggest contender is Kasich, which I don't think that he's going to get the nomination.
Oh, I'm sorry, but Free Jen in the comment section said, why is GE talking about the Wookiee homeworld?
Kasich. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Shit. Kasich? I don't fucking know.
I love that that's
because he really... I didn't notice that until he pointed it out.
But yeah, speaking of superdelegates, that's actually one of the bigger issues with the election this year is the fact that Sanders, while he won like the popular vote in New Hampshire, technically he lost like a lot of the caucus votes, and that's because of superdelegates. And ALS actually found
superdelegates to me.
Yeah.
Before we go.
Wait, we got a video for that. I suggest GE show this video.
Oh, okay. What a wonderful unplanned segue.
All right. Yeah, let's learn about superdelegates, everybody.
On Super Tuesday, the voters put John McCain on the fast track.
Shit, no audio again?
So basically, you're about to learn about superdelegates, if you didn't know, which is basically a way for the political establishment to say, fuck your vote, we're going to pick who we want regardless of what you say. Because
how do they
fuck
do
democracy, bitches.
We have an electoral college. We've been fucking democracy since it started.
Yeah, okay.
To the GOP nomination.
Can you guys hear that?
The battle between Democrats Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama could last for months, with the nomination decided not by voters, but by superdelegates. It's very complicated, so tonight we're trying a new approach, something we call the fast draw, to explain who these superdelegates are and exactly what they do. Josh Landis and Mitch Butler have just joined CBS News, and welcome, guys.
Thanks, Katie. So what a lot of people don't realize is that when a race is really close, our democratic system does something a little bit undemocratic. It takes power away from the voters.
Remember back in 2000, the presidential race was decided by the Supreme Court. And for the Democrats this year, another group of appointed officials will be calling the shots.
Pay no attention to the superdelegates behind the curtain.
Like the great and powerful Oz, these superdelegates are pulling the levers of power in your political party.
Which means your vote may not be what you think it is. Even if you and your party members across the nation choose one candidate, it does not guarantee that that person will become the nominee.
Here's why. When you cast a primary vote for your candidate, what you're really doing is telling a group of party officials, and these are the delegates, which candidate you want them to pick at the national convention.
But not all of them have to listen to you. Among those delegates, there's an elite corps called the superdelegates. These people are like political wizards. They have the power to support any candidate they want, even change their minds at the last minute, and they answer to no one.
In each political party, about 20% are superdelegates, enough that even if voters clearly pick one candidate, the wizards could still have enough power to tip the scales the other way. And you know a lot of these people.
Jimmy Carter,
Bill Clinton,
Al Gore,
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi,
Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid.
The Republicans call their wizards unpledged delegates, and they're usually not big names, but they're just as powerful.
So that's how the system works. Now let's take a look at how things are shaping up right now. After the big showdown on Super Tuesday, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are in a tight race for delegates. It's so close, it will be the superdelegates, not the voters, who choose the Democratic nominee this election year. On the Republican side, John McCain has a much larger lead over his competition, especially since Mitt Romney has dropped out of the race. But there too, the power of the wizards outweighs the voters of any one state.
This superdelegate system may sound a bit anti-democratic, but the idea here is to give established party leaders more control so that primary voters don't get carried away with someone who looks good but could never win a general election.
These wizards are senators, representatives, governors, former presidents. They know the system very well, but do they know better than you do?
Let's hope so, because that's the way it works. And one of these days, the next leader of the free world could be in the hands of these superdelegates who don't answer to you or any other primary voter.
Pay no attention to the superdelegates behind the curtain.
Now I get it. So how do you become a superdelegate? It sounds like a great job and certainly all-powerful, right?
Yeah, well, it can be. You get to be a superdelegate or an unpledged delegate if you are a major elected official, from a big city mayor to a former president. They also include members of the National Committee, and some are just specially appointed.
All right. Well, that was great, you guys. Thank you so much.
So let me mention something here. So they said in the video that, you know, this is basically a way for the party leaders to determine, like, if someone looks good but they won't actually be able to win a general election, to prevent that from happening, right? So what do we see by the actual fucking numbers here? We see that Hillary is going to lose every fucking time to a Republican. I mean, we've got like 100 different places here: Suffolk University, Fox News, NBC, Quinnipiac. All these places are polling and telling us that Hillary is going to lose against a Republican. So basically, we know that Hillary is not electable in a general election. So if these superdelegates, in which it looks like they may possibly select Hillary anyway, based on the current statistics on Google, if they pick Hillary, they're basically voting against their own system, which we know that they're going to do, because this is not a fucking democracy, as they said.
You see, I was really concerned when it said, well, I'm concerned about this whole fucking nonsense. Man, this is as, like, eye-openingly and infuriating as when I learned how the Electoral College worked. This is, like, identical to the Electoral College.
No, but it's worse,
like,
though.
It's like, oh yeah, you vote for people, and then they vote for you. Oh, but they don't have to listen to anything you say. I finally understand why people, like, for so long have been saying that your vote is worthless. Because it actually is.
Well, I think
really
it actually...
Everyone in your state could vote Republican, but the Electoral College could say, no. Democratic candidate.
Well, yeah, it all depends on how many superdelegates, they have. Like, for instance, in New Hampshire, Bernie Sanders...
The superdelegates. The delegates in general could have just been like, yeah, we don't actually want to be Democrats anymore. Like, could they?
Well,
are
that's
they
an
not
interesting thing.
That?
That's
it
an
seems
interesting
like they can just
thing
do that.
they didn't mention. Like, they focused more on the superdelegates, but the delegates themselves don't even have to do what you voted for.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Is it seems like
right.
all general, like, voting is for is just so people in power can go like, this is what the, like, plebes want. Okay, perhaps we will go with them so we can secure our line to the wheat fields. Like, that seems like all this is. It's like we'll placate people so that we can keep our jobs.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like. I mean, that's why, I mean, it's really kind of soured me against even following much of the caucus stuff. I mean, I still follow it, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, well, what's the fucking point? Because it's like, hearing that Bernie won by a landslide in New Hampshire, but then technically, like, lost most of the delegates due to super delegates. It just seems like a whole bunch of bullshit. I mean, the fact that more than likely Clinton has these super delegates, like, in her back pocket, or like she's friends with them, or maybe she just knows who to make friends with, like the right people.
I believe she's married to one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Those
well, that didn't help her against
friends.
That didn't help her against Obama, so.
Well,
here's the thing. Like, what do you think the outcome is going to be? Like, a lot of people don't actually know that this is a part of our political system. What do you see right now in the media? You see what they want us to see, right? And what is the image that they're portraying? They're completely ignoring Bernie. Every time they have a debate or a poll, they're saying that Hillary won, even though the numbers are showing Bernie 80% here, 70% there, but somehow Hillary won. What are they doing to Donald Trump in the media? They're bashing him every fucking chance they get and trying to prop up another Republican candidate. So what is this telling us? That the Republican National Committee or the Democratic National Committee, they already have in mind who they want. So it's extremely likely that the superdelegates and the delegates are going to vote in the candidate who is not the popular candidate. And I think in this case, that may end up being Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. And these are people that do not toe the party line. They are not bought by money interest, and they're not going to do what the actual party wants them to do. So these people are probably not going to get the nomination. What do you think about that, G?
Well, I mean, ultimately, I think that Clinton's probably going to get the Democratic nomination. And so that's why I feel like the entire system is stacked against Bernie Sanders as far as getting in there. And as far as the Democratic caucus already having picked out a candidate, they probably have, and they're letting their preconceptions go ahead and cloud it. Like they just they've already pledged themselves to one candidate, like Clinton, and that's just the way that it's going to go. I I kind of foresee a similar thing happening with this election that happened when Dole was it was Dole and Bush, right? Where there was a big controversy over the election. Um or yeah, yeah, I'm right? I think it was Dole and
Are you
Bush.
thinking what specifically are you referring to? You're referring to
The whole voter fraud in when Bush was getting
in
elected to office.
Florida?
Yeah.
Was that Bush and Gore?
Bush and Gore. Yes, Bush and Gore. Sorry, I'm such a dumbass. Um, Bush and Gore. I kind of see like something happening with that because in that election, I believe Gore won the popular vote but lost the actual election. And everybody's kind of wondering, well, how can that be? Well, just because the whole nation votes, like for instance, if you take the whole nation and you polled them, and like say Bernie Sanders won because he's got most of the votes, that's not technically how we elect a president. How we elect a president is by delegates and whatnot, and so like each area in the state, you cast your vote and then that area votes one way. So like while your area while the nation may primarily side with one candidate, like on a more microscopic level, a candidate could get more delegate votes or whatnot. I don't think they're called delegates when it's the actual election. I think it's called something else. Um, but that's how they're actually elected. That's why you can win the popular vote by a lot, but still lose the election.
Right. I just think that I think that neither one of these candidates. Now we have Free Jen over in the comments section who says Trump bent over and offered his asshole to a bunch of big money and super PACs, and they said no. And now he goes around pretending that he can't be bought. Yes, he did. And the reason why they didn't select him is that he does not toe the party line. For example, when they asked him about abortion, he specifically said, like, isn't Roe v. Wade the law of the land? Like, didn't we figure this out years ago? When they asked him about gay marriage, he said that the Supreme Court ruled that it's the law of the land and it doesn't fucking matter what he thinks. And that is like, Republicans are losing their fucking minds when they hear that shit. Okay, that's not what they want to hear. And so, even though he wanted to take their money, they're not going to give it to him anyway because technically he's not a Republican. If you look at what he says and what he appears to be for, he seems to be a moderate. And I think that, like I was saying before, described how, despite being the most popular person, Trump is the front runner for the Republicans. Bernie Sanders appears to be the front runner for Democrats. These people might not even get selected as a nomination. Let's forego the general election. These people may not even get the nomination, in which case if they want to run from that point, then they have to run as an independent.
Yeah. Immaculate Knowledge in the comments actually said something quite intriguing. The establishment will do anything to continue the status quo. Bernie is about breaking the boot on our necks. That's what we want, but you have the status quo being pushed on us regardless of truth. And he phrased that as a question, but yeah, I mean, I think that, and that's what Aeolus was talking about there, is the fact that a lot of people want to continue the status quo, and if someone threatens that, then they're definitely not going to be leaning that way. I mean, a lot of people like like the status quo as it is now, and I definitely feel like Bernie is about breaking that because he's wanting to do this without any kind of corporate donations and whatnot, whereas Hillary Clinton, as she's been called, has gotten a number of donations from like large donations, like huge, from big corporations where they have pretty much just bought her. And So I think that that's another thing that's working against Bernie, and I think that we'll probably end up seeing that in this election.
Lou in the comment section said if Trump keeps the lead he has, he will win regardless of the super delegates. He has the 50% plus 3 million so far. I have to disagree with that. I'm here to tell you that if Trump is not selected as the nominee, he's going to have to run as an independent. Now, what is that going to do? Maybe it's possible that all the people who were previously going to vote for him will vote for him as an independent. Highly unlikely, but it's possible. I think that anyone's chances of winning when they have to run as an independent, so this whether we're talking about Trump here or Bernie Sanders, are not only going to be decreased, but the chances of the opposite party winning are going to be even greater. For example, let's just throw out one here. If Trump is selected as the nominee, right? And Bernie Sanders is not selected and he has to run as an independent, what that's going to do is divide the votes between Bernie Sanders and Hillary, and Trump is going to come out on top. And that works both ways with any candidate, however you want to slice it and dice it, if they have to run as an independent. So I don't think that just because someone is extremely popular now or they are way out there in the front of their party that they're going to be selected as the nominee and then go on to win the general election. Because it's highly unlikely right now that Trump or Sanders are going to be selected as the nominee.
I just really hope it gets to a point where they don't have a choice.
Well, that's the thing. We just talked about the loopholes and how they have the choice ultimately in the end who is selected, not us.
Well, yeah, but I mean, well, from what people are arguing in the comments, I may have overspoken, but even then, I'm more thinking that the Sanders becomes so popular that it would be within people's best interests to focus on him. But we'll see.
I hope so. That's what we would like, right? We would like to see. He is the best candidate. He's not just someone who is promoting the current political system or, as you guys said, the status quo. He is not trying to further establishment politics. If you look at this man's career, if you look at his voting career, if you even go back to when he was mayor and, when he ran for governor and all that, he has been about what he said he's about since day one. I mean, this guy is a real politician who has went to other states, not just his state, to other states to help other people in different states. And I think that this is probably one of the best politicians that we have. And if there was anything close to what a politician should be, I'd say that it is Bernie Sanders. Do I want him to be elected? Yes. Do I hope that he's going to be elected? Yes. But I guess this is where we're going to find out, right? This election is where we're going to find out if we, the people, really fucking matter. We're really going to find out in this election, because what we have is two candidates leading the pack who are not the candidates that are promoted by their party. We're going to find out this election.
This will be exciting. Hey, see, what I have to wonder is how much this has already happened in previous elections, but just because now we live in the world of the internet, it's become much more of a focal point and everyone knows about everything. Like, I'm pretty sure something this dramatic has happened before, just nobody knew about it.
Bush.
But I'm thinking even before that, the whole Bush thing was annoying as hell, but people just kind of got over it.
I mean, that's the most recent one.
Well, no, there was. I can never remember the president, but there was effectively way worse than super PACs. It was like freaking electorate factories. And whoever the president was at the time, just completely, he used that system and then dismantled the entire thing. It was kind of magical. But these are stories no one really knows about, because how would we?
I think it's definitely happened in the past.
I'm gonna leave this on now.
I think that all along you have to understand that we call this a democracy, right? The greatest democracy of the West. Blah 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 blah. But we're not really a democracy. We're a republic. As GE mentioned earlier on, it doesn't fucking matter if 100 million people vote for Bernie Sanders and 5 million people vote for Ted Cruz. They can still elect Ted Cruz as the president. That's the fucked up thing, is that this is not a democracy. The very fundamental, I don't know, the fundamental basis of what we call a democracy, of having these delegates, super delegates, we vote for, not for a candidate, but we vote for the electoral college to vote for a candidate. I mean, this shit is just so intricate, and it's designed to be so that we as the voter think that we're actually voting for something, but the political establishment is protecting its own interest by having all of these safeguards from pitfalls, right? Safeguard here, safeguard there, safeguard there. You know, fuck these voters. They may want one thing. We don't really want what they want. So we're going to put 80 fucking safeguards in a row to make sure we can still have what we want when it comes to the political establishment. Now, I guess I'd like to say I'm going to vote for Bernie Sanders, and if Bernie Sanders is not in the general election, then I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. And well, if either one of those are in the general election, I'm not fucking voting.
Well, what do you... I'm kind of curious. Well, sorry, go ahead.
I will not vote for Hillary Clinton, and I will not vote for any of those imbeciles that call themselves Republican candidates.
Also, the president I was talking about was Chester A. Arthur. I recommend looking up his presidency. It was interesting.
I'm gonna write that down.
And this is in like the late 1800s. That's why.
Wait! You've peaked this. Please tell us more. Do you know? Like, tell us more. You've got it pulled up. Tell us.
I don't remember the entire story, but the idea is it was the like appalling corruption in the electoral process, where people would effectively, like, all the banks in the area they would create presidents, more or less, and then they would get elected, and it was fantastic for everyone that was involved. And Arthur didn't like it, so he basically finagled his way to be the Republican candidate, got elected as the vice president under Garfield, and Garfield got shot, and then he just completely dismantled the entire thing. It was completely illegal. You weren't allowed to do it that way anymore. So yeah, he used the system to his advantage and then destroyed it. Chester A. Arthur.
I'm going to look this up, but that just goes to show, like you said, we didn't have the internet then. We didn't have access to information, so we didn't know.
Some of it, so one of his quotes of his life was, "I may be president of the United States, but my private life is nobody's damn business."
Hey, wait, I agree with that, okay? Who gives a fuck if Bill Clinton is getting his dick sucked in the Oval Office? A man gotta have an orgasm every now and then.
I want to know about the guy that said it. I want to know what the fuck Arthur was doing in his private life. Now I'm even more curious.
My private life is nobody else's business. Do not question the wig that is on my head, nor the lipstick that is on my lips.
Excuse me, you do not question Arthur because of his spectacular mustache. Seriously, gee, if you can bring up a picture of Chester A. Arthur.
Pull him up, G. Oh, here we go.
Like, his mustache started at his nose and then slowly devoured the sides of his face.
Oh my God! Oh, you can't question that. Look at that mustache.
I am impressed, Mr. Arthur.
And from that day forward, from the birth of that mustache, he never kissed a woman ever again.
There's one president who never got married. And I can't remember who that was either. But there's only been one.
Would you like a mustache train ride?
No.
Going all the way around to the mutton chops. That's what we're doing, baby.
Don't nobody
I
want to
really
feel
gotta
that on their
question how you
shaft.
think
I mean,
this
on their lips.
What's that, Dieter?
All those bristles poking you. Hey, mofos be asking me like Aeolus, when you gonna grow out that full beard? I'm like, man, all right, first look, I like kissing. Okay, and the ladies don't like being pricked by no mustache, bruh. I'm just saying.
To be fair, plenty of dudes like getting pricked by mustaches. They just happen to also be into dudes.
I'll keep that in mind, Dieter, but for now, I'm shaving the mustache every night.
Why the fuck would you shave at night?
Because
so
it's called
do it in the morning.
Because it's called a 5 o'clock
But
shadow.
It grows at night.
It does, but I ain't no morning person, okay? I get up 20 minutes early, and that's it. I get up, and I get dressed, and I go to work.
Wait, you don't hit the gym first?
Well, that's what I do while I'm asleep, right? I've got my dumbbells in my bed, and while I'm sleeping, I'm just like, ugh, ugh, ugh.
And when he's showering, he's actually lifting the showers, doing deadlifts.
Yep, that's true. The water doesn't fall on me. I lift the water with my muscles.
That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't have to make sense, okay?
Logistically, what are you saying?
What you need to know is that I am a scientific impossibility. I'm Aeolus, your favorite atheist, okay? Now...
You exist. By definition, you're a possibility.
Moving along.
Well, yeah, before we move along to Hypocrite of the Week, which we've got a pretty good one via A-list this week, I would like to kind of get what you guys think about who this election is going to be like who do you think is going to get nominated and who do you think is going to be running?
All right. So, final thoughts, you mean?
Basically.
I have no idea who the Republican nominee will be. Like, I have no idea. Maybe Cruz, but I kind of hope not. But I'm hoping for Sanders. That's all I really got.
I'm going with Cruz and Hillary will be the nominees.
All right, I have to go a little bit different route. Okay, I think it's going to be Trump and that crazy woman from Alaska. What's her name?
Sarah Palin.
Palin. It's going to be Trump. Palin is going to be the Republican running team, and then it'll probably be Clinton and fuck. I have no idea who she chooses her running mate. I only know about Trump's running mate because he's
stump.
A dead stump. Yeah, I can't really say who she would pick as her running mate, but it's not gonna matter because she's gonna be president. But yeah, so I think it'll be Trump and Palin that'll be running for the Republican ticket.
Hey, we've got over here, George Mayer says, oh, please let it be Cruz for Republican nominee. He'll lose. Actually, no, we just pulled up and showed you that the statistics and the polls say that Cruz is going to fucking beat Hillary. But let me just say,
is insane. I think he's actually crazy.
If Bernie Sanders can convince Elizabeth Warren to be his vice president, and she accepts,
yeah, I saw that.
Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, all fucking day. Even if he has to run as an independent, that's how much support they would have together. Even if he has to run as an independent, I think he'll win it if he gets Elizabeth Warren.
I know almost nothing about her, but the few things that I do were promising, at least.
A lot of people fucking like her, even people from the opposite party. But can we stop talking about political garbage, because it just is so depressing.
Yeah, I love learning even more how little my ambitions in life matter.
How much your vote counts, dude.
Yeah,
Don't worry, guys. Call me in 40 years. I'll be a superdelegate, and then we'll get somebody useful in the White House.
Well, let's go ahead to ALS's favorite time of the show. Time of the
This, as you guys know, what episode is this? 50.
Big 5-0.
Hey,
Oh, we should have done something.
hey, can we get an applause in this bitch? We made it to 50 episodes.
And we didn't even get shut down.
50 episodes, and you mofos should know that my favorite segment of the week is Hypocrite of the Week! Woo! This week's Hypocrite of the Week is going to a pastor and his wife in West Palm Beach, Florida. GE, tell us about it.
All right. Well, in West Palm Beach, Florida, a pastor and his wife are behind bars charged with abusing children. Pastor James Jackson and his wife, Valerie Jackson, are known in West Palm Beach for their involvement with a nonprofit that helps teens. But now they face serious charges related to child molestation. Of course. James Jackson is charged with sexual battery on children, and his wife Valerie is charged with lascivious behavior. Say, I got that right, didn't I? A therapist with Palm Beach County Victim Services says she is not surprised by cases like this. We are not seeing the stranger danger like we used to see years ago. What is happening now is people who are in these authoritative roles, protective roles for children are taking advantage of them. And they are the ones we are seeing who are predatory against these children, therapist Randy Kogan said. And if you have any information, please contact them. So
first, I gotta disagree with what that article says, because actually, if you want to stick with the fucking facts here, that we're not allowing this to happen. Like you're saying, we are not seeing stranger danger like we used to see years ago. I think that that's false. I think that now we're just seeing that this is being brought to light more and more. You know, I've said this before on previous shows. I have Google Alerts set up for this shit every week. I never fucking turned it off, okay? I should probably turn it off because it's really fucking depressing. It's basically about pastors and religious leaders who have been charged with the crime. And what happens is I find out that there are on average like 3 pastors a day that get strung up on sexual abuse charges with minors. So I don't think it's not that we're not seeing the stranger danger like we used to see years ago. I think we're still seeing it. It's just being exposed more.
Well, I think
it's being exposed on a much broader scale. Like before, it was kind of just your local community where you got your news from. Now we get to hear about every community.
And I think that children were being taken more advantage of back then. Just think about the Catholic Church, how they shuffled around these priests to avoid prosecuting them. Like, and no one ever knew. Like, I mean, these molestations that occurred like 30 years ago, we're just finding out about them. So I think that now it's not that the people who are on these authoritative, protective roles for children are just taking advantage of them and not getting away with it. I think they were getting away with it a lot more back in the day. We have the internet now. We have all these news media outlets and ways to communicate, and we're showing that these people are actually committing crimes. And I think that that's wrong. I think that they were taking advantage of it a lot more back in the day. The evidence is the Catholic Church.
Well, yeah, no, I have to agree because there's
Mhm.
still you should still keep the whole stranger danger thing in mind, especially when you're teaching your kids, because I mean that's kind of a first line of defense. But studies have always shown that those that are that are more likely to molest or rape children are people that the children already know. So, I mean, that's always kind of been the case. It's not that I agree with Alis. It's not that we're seeing this more and more. It's that it's becoming wider known, and we have such an instantaneous network of news and it just information in general that we're able to spread this information quicker than we were before. And I think that another factor is that you have more people that are willing to speak out and actually come forward with it and not be afraid to come out with the information. Like in the past, you had people that were afraid to, call molester on their local pastor because he's a pastor. I mean, who's going to believe you that he was a pedophile? But now it's kind of like, but now it's come to the point where people will use that maliciously in order to get people in trouble. And people generally accept it. Like for instance, the was it Virginia College, that frat that was over there. Rolling Stone printed a supposed rape article that was completely false. There was no evidence to support it at all, and people immediately believed it, destroyed the frat house, spray painted it and everything. The frat was immediately labeled as just like a rape frat, and so I mean their whole name was tarnished, basically. Not that I like frats in general, but I'm just saying that a lot of people throw this out there like that. But that's not to go to say that we don't need to take these things lightly or anything like that. We definitely do need to take them seriously, but we just need to do the proper investigation into it to make sure that it actually did happen.
Well, I don't think anyone's proposing just arresting priests without due process.
Fuck
but
those
the one actually kind of what? No, anyway, the kind
excuse
of
my anti-theism.
Yeah.
Well, no, my point in bringing all of that.
Even if you don't like religion, you should not just automatically accuse priests of molesting children. That's poor form.
Well,
no. One thing I wanted to mention. Hey, you guys talk forever. My turn. Okay. The one thing I wanted to mention, I think I mentioned this before whenever this subject comes up, it might actually be like an unfortunate irony. Not even irony, just a very disgusting situation where people might actually start seeking out the priesthood expressly to take advantage of people. Not just financially or a weird self-entitlement kind of situation, but to molest kids. Because now that's been so publicized and how many people get away with it, that might actually attract people that would do these sort of crimes, just exacerbating the problem.
Well, I think that these people are attracted to the position of power in general because you not only see them in the priesthood and in those types of organizations, but I mean you see them across the board in any kind of position of power that is over children. And so I think that these types of people that would take advantage of small children and whatnot, are just drawn to the position of power and abuse that.
That's fair.
I think Dieter also brought something up in a previous episode that I'll never forget. He said that
I always forget it.
I mean, it was so profound to me that you said this, that we had done so many hypocrites of the week that I had never thought about this. So maybe a pedophile is really seeking help, right? And so he goes to the church, who is supposed to be the moral precedent, right? and he seeks out this help, and he tries to, you know, fix the problem through religious practice. And by doing so, by devoting himself to this religious practice to avoid his pedophilic nature, he ends up becoming like a leader in the church, maybe even fucking becomes the youth minister or the fucking pastor. And what happens when he becomes the youth minister or the pastor? He hasn't fixed his issue, and now he is in control of all these people. And I think that I don't really know if Dieter knows how profound that was when he brought that up. But I think that's actually a legitimate thing. I think people do seek out the church. They do seek out religion when they have a problem, because as society, we've been fooled to think that religion is morality, right? Most people think that. And so when they want to do the good thing or the right thing, they go to the church. And I think that if a pedophile does that, instead of actually seeking therapy and help, he may end up in a position where he's in control of people, primarily children, in which case he's going to be tempted to take advantage of them because he has not fixed the issue that he has or attempted to correct it. He's only suppressed this pedophilia with his religious superstition.
It actually gets worse if you think about it, because it's never a problem that can be solved with a lot of religious organizations. Whenever you have an issue, it's because of sin. And the only cure for sin is more religion. So
Right.
like, you can actually, like, someone could be basically convinced that they are completely fine when they're in that sort of situation. It's like, I've purged myself of sin, those desires are no longer there. I mean, just look at like the straight conversions, or I guess gay conversions, because you don't, whatever. Like, this horrible failure rate of that, even if people convince themselves that they actually changed, the fact that they don't, and the failure rate is so high, kind of shows that that sort of cure for issues you have fails, because you're not even identifying what you have as an issue. You're identifying it as a make-believe disorder called sin. So yeah, it's not just the bad method of cure. It's actually misidentifying the problem.
Now let me go off on my rant that I do every time we do a Hypocrite of the Week. Is that people always wonder, why are we bringing this up? Why are we pointing out the flaws of religion instead of talking about the good? Or why are we always picking on pastors and things of this nature? Well, these pastors are supposed to fucking be the moral precedents in their community. They're supposed to be the people that other people look to for advice, for guidance, for spirituality. And these people are taking advantage of all of those people. And we're going to continue to address this. We're going to continue to point it out until somebody realizes that these people being in positions of power need to be investigated. They need to have some kind of contracts that prevent them, and they need to be held to legal accountability when they do things like this. If your doctor has to fucking sign a contract, your psychologist has to sign a contract that when he has some kind of emotional connection with you or some kind of power over you, or you open yourself up to him emotionally, psychologically, mentally, any kind of vulnerability that you have, that he's not going to take advantage of that. Priests do not, pastors do not fucking have that. Okay, and I think that maybe this is a reason why. Like, maybe this issue is not being addressed enough. Maybe, just maybe, these pastors think that maybe they're forgiven when they do something like this, and that basically sets them up for failure if it occurs again. When you are going to be placing yourself in people's lives, developing emotional connections with them, sometimes shit happens, man, right? You open yourself up to somebody, they open themselves up to you, you start developing some kind of attraction in the brain, shit happens. No, it's not right. But maybe we need to start holding these pastors accountable and giving them more than just the minimum sentence, or less than the minimum sentence, just because they're a religious figure. These people, when they are sitting in front of a congregation of their community saying that they can do no wrong, that they're above reproach. When they commit crimes like this, the fucking book should be thrown at them because they're supposed to be like the people that we look up to for guidance, right? So let's start making an example out of these people. That's what we really want. Like, it makes me so sad to see that these people that we report on, when I go back weeks later and Google them, they got like the minimum fucking sentence. Or even worse, they're back at their church a year later doing the same thing.
So we have a question in the comment from Fishhead Salad, asking you, Aeolus, who is worse, the preachers or the willing flock?
He said the freezer. So here's the thing. If your pastor knows that he's taking advantage of you, if he's only being a pastor for the power or the money or the influence or the fame, then I'm going to have to say that he's worse. Because a lot of times people are ignorant and they don't know that they're ignorant. That's the thing, right? There's nothing wrong with ignorance. The only thing is if someone points out that ignorance and you continue to be ignorant, then now you've breached that boundary of ignorance and willful ignorance. So some people don't know that they're being ignorant. I was religious for a long fucking time. I was hella fucking ignorant. I didn't know that. A lot of people started pointing that shit out to me, and I still didn't even accept it because the way that this is built into your mind, the way that you're indoctrinated, the way that religion holds our entire world captive is just fucking insane. When you think about this with the rational mind, you're like, wow, how has this been able to take place? So I really feel a lot of sympathy for people who are ignorant. And this is why, like, I think I have a lot of theist followers. A lot of theists follow me. A lot of people who are sitting on the fence follow me because I don't instantly just bash people. I try to talk to them and explain to them like what I went through. I explain to them that I used to be religious and that I don't think any less of someone because they are religious. If their beliefs haven't been questioned, you have to expect that people are going to be religious because that is how the world is. When you look out into society, most people fucking believe in a God. And those people that believe in a God usually support some kind of system of organized religion. So, as I said, to answer your question, the freezers are the ones who are worse.
Also, someone asked how long ago I lost my gavel. I don't know what you mean about losing my gavel.
Hey, hold up, though. He was paying attention because, like, the last 3 episodes, you didn't have it.
Apparently, it was just under this little thing on my desk this entire time.
I think what he's trying to say, though, I think he's not even asking you that. I think what he's trying to say is, hey, when are you motherfuckers going to stamp these guys with Hypocrite of the Week? And the answer to that question is right fucking now. Dieter, stamp these bastards with Hypocrite of the Week for sexually battering and taking advantage of all of these children.
What if I can, like, put, like, a box or something over the mic and just hit that? This'll work.
Hypocrite of the Week.
Awesome. I think this week was a really awesome show. If this is your first time here, do go and subscribe to Dieter Lucum and God Works Out, as well as subscribe here if you would like to keep up with this particular running series every 2 weeks. We'll see you guys in another 2 weeks when we'll talk about some more atheist community stuff and probably some more politics and science. So y'all have a nice night. Don't forget to subscribe to these guys. Hit that thumbs up button.
Hey, I just wanted to say, because I'm really drunk, and for some reason I just noticed this, but that reporter on screen has some really fucking enormous tits.
That was incredibly necessary, thank you.
Aren't they? Look at them though, man. Like they're fucking distorting the image and shit.
Excuse me. I look at women's faces.
May reason forever outweigh religious stupidity. Peace.
Alice needs to go take a nap. So, good night, everybody.